So, Prabhu, I have chosen the topic, the art of preaching. So, the thing motivates me to start this because uh, our seniors are doing a lot of work to preach the real message of Srila Prabhupada. Actually, ISKM is nothing but it's ISKCON as it is. We know that ISKCON is deviated from the work. So we have to preach the message of Srila Prabhupada as it is. So we need to know the art of preaching that Srila Prabhupada used to mention in his books and all. So this is the agenda we will be going through. The five topics we will be looking after, that why we should preach and how to preach, things to keep in mind, how to dress ourselves, dealing with opposing arguments. These are the five things we will be going through this presentation. So the first topic is why we should preach. So, so Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, he declares to Arjuna that for one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed. And at the end, he will come back to me. And another thing he also mentions that there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will be there ever be one more dear to, more dear. So this is the main point Krishna mentions. So we have to please Krishna, and how we can please that by explaining the message Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita, and whatever he mentions, we just have to deliver that message to everyone. And Srila Prabhupada also mentions that everyone should preach and distribute books if they want to please me in the best way. That is, so we have got two main points. Sadhu means we are pleasing Guru and we are praising Krishna. So, in this regard, also, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a shloka, there is a verse. Brahmande bhramite kono bhagyavana jeev, Guru Krishna prasade paya bhakti lata beach. So, what else required if we can satisfy Guru and Krishna? So, this is the reason why we need to preach. We should try our best to please our Guru, and we should try to please Krishna. And His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu also mentions that if we do not preach, we are going to fall down. So somehow or other we have to preach. Then we will look after a bonus thing, that is pray to Panchatattva. Whenever we are going to preach something, we must pray to Panchatattva. Always Srila Prabhupada mentions that. We must strictly follow the principle of offering our respects to Panchatattva as summarized in the mantra Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. At the beginning of every function in preaching, especially before chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we must chant the Panchatattva's names and offer our respects to them. This is because they have set a great example for us so that we can follow them, and we should try our best to preach the message of them. Our main motive should be to please Krishna and Panchatattva. And if we are praying to Panchatattva, ki, oh Panchatattva, please give your blessing so that I can deliver the message of Krishna, whatever he mentions in Bhagavad Gita. So by their mercy only we can preach. Once I have asked to Sundar Gopal Prabhu in the Q&A session that how, because I have tried my very best to preach outside, but I was unable to do so. Some people do not approach me, or I was unable to approach some people. So Sundar Gopal Prabhu mentioned that we must pray to Panchatattva before going outside preaching. So by doing so, I have seen the results that yes, by their mercy, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I was able to distribute 11 books in that day. So we must pray to Panchatattva before going to preaching work. Then the point is how to preach. So Srila Prabhupada mentions in Srimad Bhagavatam that a devotee travels all over the country from door to door, preaching, be Krishna conscious, be a devotee of Lord Krishna. Don't spoil your life in simply fulfilling your animal propensities. Human life is meant for self realization or Krishna consciousness. These are the preachings of a sadhu. So, this the same thing actually Nityananda Prabhu said, used to do. He used to knock the doors, door after door. Oh, my dear friend, please chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If the doorkeeper used to say, no, I don't want to chant, please go away from here, he used to hold up the legs of that person and beg, I will do whatever work you have, but you please chant. This was the humility of Nityananda Prabhu. So we have to do this thing. We have to just go from door to door, and we have to say that yes, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Please be Krishna conscious. Don't spoil your life like animal by doing all these animal propensities. Just try to um, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and make your life successful. We simply request everyone to chant the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. If one is a little literate and can read Bhagavad Gita as it is and Srimad Bhagavatam, that is so much the better. These works are now available in an English translation, are done very authoritatively to appeal to all classes of men. Instead of living engrossed in material activities, people throughout the world should take advantage of this movement and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra at home with their families. One should also refrain from sinful activities, illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. So Srila Prabhupada also mentions that we must try to flatter them. The flattering is the main business. Oh, you are so great. You wore so much nice dress. Your glasses are so beautiful. You look so beautiful. The flattering means we have to just butter them. In Hindi, that is called makhan lagana. So we have to do that. And if we are doing that, then actually the same thing Prabhupada mentions, it is from a quote of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that Prabodhananda Saraswati mentions this. So from that purport only Srila Prabhupada mentions that even though that person is the biggest rascal, but we have to approach him like a way of we have to become so much humble and we have to just approach him. You are so great person. You have so much spirituality, and we have to just flatter them, and naturally he will become okay. This person is the doing like means he's praising me. Yes, I must purchase one book. Yes, I must listen to this person. So another thing is Srila Prabhupada mentions Sevan Mukhe hi Jivado, chanting and eating prasadam. So even if that person is trying to avoid us, is avoiding that, no, I don't want to take the books, we can just ask him that, oh, okay, you don't want to take book, okay. Oh, one thing you can do is you can chant with me one time. That is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So even if he chants only one time, actually, Shevan Mukhe hi Jivado, chanting and eating prasadam, these two things are very much important. Actually, I can give my example. I have started progressing by first chanting one round only. Delhi, I used to chant only one round. After that, I switched to 6 rounds, and after that, eight. And after eight, I started chanting 16 rounds. And now when I chanted 16 rounds, after that, I switched. From this onwards, I will be eating only prasadam. No outside food is allowed. And this is the thing we need. And if we are preaching like this, and if the person is chanting only one round or at least one time, also he is taking the Krishna's holy name, is gonna purify himself. So the things we should keep in mind before going to preaching. So one is expected to understand these three formulas of knowledge concerning the Supreme Lord, that He is the supreme enjoyer, that He is the proprietor of everything, and that He is the best well wisher and friend of everyone. A preacher should personally understand these truths and preach them to everyone. Then there will be peace and tranquility all over the world. This is the main thing, that we must first understand ourselves that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. We must first accept this thing in our heart that yes, Krishna is the supreme Lord, no one else. राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोर जुगल किशोर जीवने मोर मरने मोर राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोर जुगल किशोर जीवने मरणे गति Arana Himora. It's a very nice song mentioned by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. So first we have to understand this thing that yes, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and without Radha Krishna, I have nothing else until death. Another thing that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned that Jivana sarthaka kari karo paro upakar. First, we have to understand ourselves, then we have to make understand others. First, we have to accept, then we have to preach others. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, however, as a preacher, turned the minds of the Mayavadi sannyasis, they were melted by the sweet words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and thus become friendly and spoke to him also in sweet words. Similarly, all preachers will have to meet opponents, but they should not make them more inimical. They are already enemies, and if we talk with them harshly or impolitely, their enmity will merely increase. We should therefore follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as far as possible and try to convince the opposition by quoting from the Shastras and presenting the conclusion of the Acharyas. It is in this way that we should try to defeat all the enemies of the Lord. So we have to uh, become like, first we have to become friendly with the person. First we have to understand what are the problems he is going through, like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did with Mayavadi sannyasis. He spoke in a very melted sweet words, so the words get into the heart of that Mayavadis, and after we are entering into the heart of those people we are preaching, and we can make them understand our philosophy, and we can approach them, yes, you take this book, and naturally they will be yes, this person is speaking so much nice to me, I must take his book, I must listen to him. This is the words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam 6 canto 1 chapter 1 verse number 38. So it is the time when Vishnu Dutas came to Yamadutas, when Yamadutas were carrying Ajamila. That is the incident. So from that purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions this inquiry by the Vishnuvudutas to the Yamadutas is most important. A servant must know the instructions of his master. The servants of Yamaraj claim to be carrying out his orders, and therefore the Vishnudutas very intelligently asks them to explain the symptoms of religious and irreligious principles. The question posed by the Vishnudutas was very suitable. One who represents someone else must fully know that person's mission. The devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement must therefore be fully aware of the mission of Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. Otherwise, they will be considered foolish. All devotees, especially preachers, must know the philosophy of Krishna consciousness so as not to be embraced and insulted when they preach. This is the very important point we have to look after, because I have seen many of those devotees of ISKCON. ISKCON gurus are like just saying everyone just go and preach whatever you know, just go and preach, but they actually do not have any idea about the philosophy. Whenever the opponent person asks, I want to know about this point, why these are the faults in your temple, and this is the things, they are unable to answer. So we must keep in mind that whenever we are going outside, we must keep in mind that we are representing our guru, we are representing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are representing Panchatattva, we are representing the whole parampara system, the Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya. We are representing them. If we will have no idea about our Guru's mission, then how are we going to preach and convince others? That is impossible. So we must have an idea, especially preachers must know that what is our Guru's mission. We must know the philosophy, then we can preach the Krishna consciousness. Another point is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya, chapter 22, verse number 118. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we have limited our study of Vedic literatures to Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. These four works are sufficient for preaching purposes. They are adequate for the understanding of the philosophy and the spreading of missionary activities all over the world. Excuse me. So, so Prabhupada mentions that only those four books we have to keep in mind. That is Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That is the nectar of devotion that Srila Prabhupada has written. So, if a person in our association, in our ISKM Vaishnava Sangha, used to watch regularly the lectures of our ISKM devotees, senior devotees, he will have all those ideas in all those three, four books actually. Whenever we are going to watch the lectures of our seniors, they are almost quoting all the verses and all the purports from all those four books, and just we have to go through those purports in ourselves, and whatever doubts we have, we can go to any of our Siksha Guru, and we can ask him, and we can clear our doubts. And we have to go. Basically, for these four books are very much important for preaching and understanding the philosophy of our Krishna, of our Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya. Whatever Krishna mentions, we have to go to understand the philosophy. We must go through these four books. And if we are unable to understand anything, we can approach our Shiksha Guru, and we can understand this thing. So the next thing is that how we should dress ourselves. So Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, 13th chapter, verse number 9. For Paramahansas or sannyasis in the Vaishnava order, preaching is the first duty. To preach, such sannyasis may accept the symbols of sannyasa, such as the danda and kamandalu, or sometimes they may not. Such a sannyasi is free to accept or reject the consciousness. Sometimes the Krishna consciousness movement sends its representative sannyasis to foreign countries where the danda and kamandalu are not very much appreciated. We send our preachers in ordinary dress to introduce our books and philosophy. Our only concern is to attract people to Krishna consciousness. We may do this in the dress of sannyasi or in the regular dress of gentleman. Our only concern is to spread interest in Krishna consciousness. So this is the very point actually we must go through. We should not avoid this thing that, okay, Srila Prabhupada mentions this thing. If I'm shy of wearing dhoti and kurta, I must avoid this thing. I must avoid wearing dhoti and kurta because I'm out of shyness. So His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu mentions in the last Q&A session, actually one devotee asked him that I was unable to preach because I'm out of shyness. So if we are trying to avoid out of shyness and all, then we are in the bodily concept of life. If we are avoiding something out of shyness, then we are bodily concept of life. But in this particular purport, it is for them like His Grace Nimai Prabhu, like those who are preaching in China, the places like China, Russia, for them, quite it is impossible to wear dhoti and kurta and go outside and preach. But they are also trying their best to do so. The main purpose is preaching, but if in our circumstances it is possible that we can follow the instruction of guru by wearing dhoti and kurta and go outside and preach, then why we should not? For them who is outside, like in China and Russia and in other places where this preaching is not allowed, they can go with the gentleman dress or normal regular dress. They can go with that. But we must look after this, because when Srila Prabhupada preached in the America, uh, they do not have his disciple do not have any dhoti and kurta. So the devotees were, the disciples were so much serious. They used to purchase the bed sheets, the material of bed sheets, white bed sheets, and they used to use it as dhoti. They were so much serious. So we should not avoid this thing out of shyness. If we are in a circumstance like if we are in college, it is not possible that we are wearing a dhoti and kurta, we are preaching. That is not possible because we have certain uniform. So in that circumstances, we can go with normal gentleman dress or whatever our school uniform or college uniform is, that we can go with that and preach. So this is for a particular circumstances only. So now, how we should deal with the opposing arguments. Although Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees in disciplic succession can defeat all kinds of learned scholars, scientists, and philosophers in arguments, thus establishing the supremacy of the personality of Godhead, their main business as preachers is to introduce Sankirtana everywhere. Simply to defeat scholars and philosophers is not the occupations of a preacher. Preachers must simultaneously introduce the Sankirtana movement, for that is the mission of Chaitanya cult. We should not just focus on defeating the opposition. We just have to give Prabhupada to them. This is the words of His Grace Prahlad Prabhu. We just have to give Prabhupada to them. And how we can give that? By distributing a book. Oh, oh, my dear gentlemen, just try to flatter him. Oh, you are so great. You are just try to put some butter on him and just give Prabhupada to them. We are not just, we must not try ourselves like to fight with them or defeat their scholarship and philosophies, but we must try to give Prabhupada to them. Because Prabhupada mentions that even if he reads one line of the book, then his life is successful. That is the very point. Our main point is introducing Sankirtana. Introducing Sankirtana. And if it is not possible that, okay, he is not willing to do so, like he's not ready to take the book, we must ask him, oh, my dear sir, please chant with me one time. I'm not asking anything from you. Otherwise, we can also give one sweet prasadam to him, like a laddu or whatever it is. In this way, we can approach them. So all these references I have collected from actually Vedabase 2023. It's basically a Windows application. So where I found the book. It is very much important book, that is Preaching is the Essence. And I must request all of you that you must go through that book if we are actually willing to understand the preaching, art of preaching that is given by Srila Prabhupada. He has mentioned all in all his letters, in all the purports of his books, and all that compilation is given in that particular book, that is Preaching is the Essence. Actually, the ebook part, PDF part is not available. So I'm thinking of that. I will try my best to make it make a PDF format of that. I will try my best. So the next thing that intended me to make this particular presentation is that struggles of our senior for preaching. I have seen a particular video of His Grace Tattvavid Prabhu, that they had struggled a lot while preaching in the Europe. Actually, when uh, actually one of the devotee from Europe side, he messaged to His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu that okay, we are going to arrange something. Please, Prabhu, guide us and everything, and this and all this and all. But when they reach there, actually Vrajakishore Prabhu, uh, then our Tattvaid Prabhu, Nimai Prabhu, and His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu, when they reach that particular place, actually that devotee did not answer anything and all. So they had to face a lot of issues while preaching in that place, and then they have to change the plan. So our seniors are working day and night really hard, but we have, as we are youths now, we are young devotees, we must try to understand the art of preaching, and we must try to preach ourselves to the level best. So with this, I remain. Thank you, Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present. If knowingly or unknowingly I have committed any mistakes at your lotus feet, please forgive me for that. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaः.